Hey everyone, welcome to episode 6 of A Drop of Sunshine. I'm Daphne DeLauren, and today we're talking about comparison. Purpose exists in everything and everyone. If you're listening to this right now, you're gifted with a beating heart and a very particular purpose. We were all created uniquely with gifts and talents no one else on this earth has, and one of the biggest tragedies is passing through this life without meaning or purpose. Most of us are influenced by family, friends, or other relationships on what we're supposed to do with our life or who we're supposed to be. This affects our careers, hobbies, and relationships. I don't have all the answers, but my mission is to help bring you truth and closer to your purpose, one drop at a time. Hey guys, welcome to episode 6 of A Drop of Sunshine. Nash and I, my co-hosts, were here ready to go. We actually just got back from a trip. We were in California for about a week and a half with Noah and Josh visiting my dearest cousin, Melissa. And we just had such a good time. We haven't been able to take vacation for quite some time, and I didn't have to put any vacation requests at work, so it was extra special. And we just enjoyed each other, ate a lot of food, sightseeing, just you name it. We went to Santa Monica, really enjoyed just a fresh reset getaway with the family. So we're back in Nashville, ready to go, and podcast, here we go. We're talking about comparison. And I woke up this morning actually, and I was like, what do I want to talk about today? What can somebody really use? And anyone can really benefit from this message, but I think particularly women. There's something about comparison and women that is just especially affecting life right now in this generation with social media. But comparison is the death of joy, and it's going to be the roadblock to your purpose if you don't nip it in the bud right now. Do not delay this any longer. There is no such thing as comparison when you truly understand what it is and how you were created. Because in a world where social media rules, this is extremely important to understand. And there's pressure to compare at every single angle coming at us. And I don't know why, but it's especially women and it's especially social media. I don't know. It just is. Women can be vicious, and we have to be really good at understanding that God created each one of us unique and beautiful, not only to the girl next to us or the boy next to us, but to every single person in the entire universe. Like those sweet little Valentine things you say you're 1 in a billion. That's actually true. You are 1 in a billion. Can you actually take a moment to think about that? 1 in a billion. That's crazy. So when you understand you're 1 in a billion and God created you with a unique purpose to every single person created, then you realize you can't even compare yourself to somebody else because you're completely two different people with two different purposes. So when you realize that you are your own unique brand with your own unique blueprint that nobody can even copy if they try to. So if you go out of sync with that, something is going to feel off inside. When you compare yourself to other people, there is not one benefit that comes out of it for you or for other people. It's basically an illusion. And I really saw this firsthand in television, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But one of two things happen when we compare ourselves. One, you find someone else doing better than yourself, and then you get discouraged. Or two, you find yourself doing better than somebody else, and you get this sense of pride. So none of those are good. None of those are good for you. None of those are good for other people. But when you realize, again, you are uniquely and beautifully created with gifts and talents no one else in this world has, you realize it literally does not exist, comparison. And it can only, you only strive to become the best version of yourself, fine-tuning your gifts, but you get to cheer one another on in that process. Because here's the thing, when you realize that everybody does have a purpose, that it is for other people, that the world needs their gifts, talents, and purpose to be fulfilled. So instead of comparing yourself or being jealous or having envy of another person, whether it's looks or success, or, they're married with a baby, or whatever that is, or whatever that looks like, which we can really easily fall into, when you realize that this person has gifts and talents and a purpose for the world that really needs to be met, you change your focus and you change your understanding, and you realize the truth that the world needs this person and their gifts and talents, and you cheer them on. And then you better yourself because you realize the world needs you, because it's not about you. It's about other people and serving other people. And the greatest fulfillment comes from that. But the world teaches us opposite, that it's about me. And ever since I was a little girl, it's about me and what can this do for me. But when you get out of that rhythm and you break that lie and you realize the truth that it's not about me, it's about fulfilling my purpose by serving other people, the fulfillment that comes in hand with that is greater than anything you'll ever experience. But we have to be so good at recognizing distraction. And one of those distractions I've noticed is people seeing other people succeed and thinking, oh, okay, Billy is succeeding, so what is he doing and what do I need to do to get to where Billy is? But what you don't realize is you're different than Billy. And Billy's success is, what is success? First of all, you have a different roadmap than any person in this entire world. And you were created very differently with gifts and talents that Billy doesn't have. So even though this is working for Billy, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to look you in your eyes right now, hold your face, and ask you a question. What if you were created to do something nobody else in this entire world has ever done? What if you looked at yourself from the outside in, like God looking down at you as his son or daughter and seeing the gifts, talents, and purpose he has gifted you in full potential? Close your eyes and visualize yourself working in full potential with the gifts and talents that God gave you. And that has actually really helped me lately, because one, understanding that I have a very unique purpose that nobody else has, that I have to fulfill. Because I think one of the greatest tragedies is dying without fulfilling your purpose. It's like this silent, I don't want to call it epidemic. I don't know exactly what to call it here, but to die, to be on your deathbed, just the thought of being on my deathbed and looking back on my life, what did I do? How did I fulfill my purpose? And how did I serve other people? Did I make it about me? What did I spend my time doing? And I don't want to regret that question. And tomorrow's never promised, who knows? But to actually think about death more and not deny it, but to think about it. And in my opinion, in my faith, I believe, life actually really starts when you die, when you go to heaven. But that's a whole nother topic. Okay, so I want to share a story with you, and we go way back to when I first started television. I first landed my job in Saginaw, Michigan, moved out from Tallahassee, Florida, just graduated, and I was initially hired as a trainee, which is kind of like a paid internship with job security, I want to say. They basically train you at the station and monitor you while you go on the air, coach you, and then you either get a job at the station or off abroad somewhere else with a sister station across the country. So I had just moved to Saginaw, Michigan, and it was about 3 days prior to starting at the station. I was so excited, like, oh my gosh, my dream, I'm here, this is so cool, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna finally get a paycheck, and everything I've worked so hard for is finally here. So long story short, it's 3 days before I start, and I had made some connections with some of the folks working at the station, and they had a little colleague get-together one night, the weekend, I believe, before I started. And I remember just being so excited to make friends and just really learn and grow from people who had been there for, asking advice. And again, no names, but there was one situation where I was sitting on the couch. I had just made a couple of friends, and there was this one person, we'll say, how about let's say Barbie. Barbie, and I asked Barbie, I said, I'm starting in a few days, and I'm so excited. This is really, my dreams are coming true here. And I said, if you have one piece of advice, Barbie, what would it be for me just starting out? I know you've been here for such a long time, and I would really love to learn from you if you have any kind of advice for a little girl like me starting. And she looked at me and she said, you were hired because you're pretty. You're going to crash and burn, and you're going to realize this very quickly, because this is not a market that you learn in out of college. And I'm just going to let you learn and figure that out for yourself. What? Are you kidding me? In my mind, I'm thinking like, I was terrified. I was already scared with butterflies. I hadn't even started my job. And this girl I'm looking up to and so excited to work with basically tells me, one, I'm hired because I'm pretty, and the 4 years of blood, sweat, and tears with college and math and science I just overcame doesn't mean anything. She didn't really know what I went through with that, but I'm hired because I'm pretty and basically going to crash and burn, and I'm going to figure that out on my own. She didn't even want to give me any more elaboration on that. And it was like really discouraging. And I was alone as it was, just moving there. And it was just this moment of, oh my goodness, this is not what I thought it's going to be. And someone I'm looking up to is speaking that so quickly. What am I getting myself into? It made me question. I'm like, okay. So I just kind of stopped the conversation right there and realize, this is probably not an encouraging or positive conversation like I hoped it to be. Okay, so maybe this seeking advice thing wasn't the best idea, but I didn't listen to her. I didn't let her speak that over me. I dismissed it, and I went to work. And this program I was in was supposed to be for 1 month of this kind of paid internship, if you will. And within a couple of months, I was next to her on the desk, co-anchoring or, doing the weather on the weekend. And she was my co-anchor. And it was like, I could have totally reacted to her or whatever, just been rude back or get defensive. But I responded silently with love because that's what I realized she needed. And I realized she was comparing herself, or I don't know what it was. I don't know what was going on in her mind to speak those words of defeat and discouragement for someone who has not even started this job. But one, she needed love. Two, she was comparing herself. And I could have easily reacted the way she was kind of craving. Now I learned from this situation, and I had a extra special heart for new people who started at the station in Michigan and Nashville. If I found out someone was new, I knew the feeling of being alone, and I knew the feeling of, that catty feeling, especially woman to woman. And then I would go an extra mile to really make sure, especially a woman, that she felt so comfortable, and I cheered her on and I would empower her and I would tell her, you can do this, because when you're on TV starting out, especially, there's so much going on. You're so nervous as it is with butterflies. You want to do well, and the best thing you can do for someone like that is to love on them, encourage them, give them strength, and realize that they are their own brand. Like you can't even compete with each other. So especially after that moment, I said, okay, Daphne, you are your own brand. Nobody can compare with or compete with you if they even wanted to, because they're not you. And if they try to, they're going to look a little funny. And so I wouldn't focus on that. I would focus on Daphne and what can I do to better myself and become the best version of myself every single day, and fine-tune my gifts and talents while cheering somebody else on, because they have different gifts and talents that this world needs. So if we look at it like that, the world needs this person and their gifts and talents, and I need to help them get there. And it feels so good along the way. When you cheer somebody else on, it creates this aura of love in the atmosphere, and everybody benefits from it. But then when you go what the world kind of pulls you to is this competition, and, I'm going to be better. And it's like it does nothing good comes out of it for you or that other person. So I want to encourage you, wherever you are right now, wherever you're listening to this, wherever you work, wherever you spend your time, to go in knowing you are uniquely and beautifully created with gifts and talents nobody else in this world has. Where there is darkness, you are light. Do not fall into the darkness. You are there for a very particular reason. Even if you're not going to be there forever, you're there right now in this season. So instead of focusing on why you shouldn't be there or why you don't want to be there, realize you are there right now and you are the light. So whoever you encounter, go out of your way to have a relationship with them. It's not just about the paycheck, and that's so deceiving and distracting. You're there for a relationship and to be a light. And you're there to empower each other, whether it's girl to girl, guy to guy, whatever that is. Take a moment to really ask somebody, look them in their eyes and say, hey, how are you today? How can I be there for you? And what you'll receive back in turn, which is not why you're doing it, but the atmosphere and the empowering and the love, it benefits every single person and the work that you're doing when you're in that mindset. So I hope this encourages you all. If it did, take a screenshot of this podcast episode, post it on Instagram, tag me, share the love, share the inspiration. That's what we need more of in this dark world. By the way, I'm so grateful for the feedback from this podcast. You're leaving me comments and stars. I'm reading all of them, putting so many smiles on my face. If you like A Drop of Sunshine and it's bringing value to your life, consider supporting more episodes by becoming a patron. You can do that by going to patreon.com/a-drop-of-sunshine. That is patreon.com/a-drop-of-sunshine. I'll also put the link under the show description of this podcast episode. Thank you all. Love you and appreciate you so much.